Hey, so what's the big news with you?
There's no news. Everything's smooth as salt. Other than the fact, right before the show, I was hungry. So I slammed a Slim Fast.
Yeah, how's that working for you?
Well, Slim Fast has more ingredients than like shipyard paint. It kind of like, I think it coats your stomach with God knows what. And so it's kind of doing a little bubbling, a little, noise. So I'm like, oh, okay. I probably won't be drinking that for a while.
Do you think you're gonna make it?
Oh,
the whole 2 hours?
Oh, it's not that kind of problem, but it's kind
Okay.
of interesting. It's growling. It's talking like a Bigfoot. Basically. So what we have tonight, we got William Nighthawk.
Yes.
And I've been chatting with William for months and months and months and months and months, but I've never really met him face to face. You actually met him before I did.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. So the only other thing that went wrong in my life is we couldn't get our garage door openers to work. And literally through some just kind of troubleshooting, because it was acting weird. It blew the fuses. Then I would reset the fuse and it would work. Then it wouldn't work. And then it would work. No. So anyhow, all of a sudden it hit me. What have I done different? I'd added that little fan, a little USB fan. Apparently it was throwing off illegal, imagine that from a Chinese little USB fan, illegal RMF or RF that was interfering with the remote openers. And it was giving them and close at the same time. So the motor was just like, and it was blowing the fuse. So I just flicked the little fan off. Everything worked perfect. Okay, except I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I was doing a radio interview somewhere live on the radio, and I forgot to leave the fan on. I left it on in the garage. Well, Yvette comes home and she can't get in.
Oh no.
So I get this text that goes, I'm going to take that Chinese fan and I'm going to throw it in the garbage. I'm on the radio. I can't do anything. She's outside stuck. It's out 90 degrees out. So I thought, you know what? Either face her wrath or face the DJ's wrath. I said, I got a 1 second emergency. Hang on. And I ran out there and hit that fan off and everything was fine. Oh boy, did I get the dirty looks.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyhow, so there you go. So changing the subject. So we also, besides William Nighthawk here in a little bit, we've got Justin Chernopensky from Mountain Beast Mysteries, who had a really weird, actually, I believe it was like 2 nights in a row, a UFO encounter, and he filmed it. And so he's going to be throwing us the footage live here in just literally a few minutes. And he can tell his story of what happened.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that story.
So here's to all the UFOs and the aliens out there. If you're going to show yourself, do not do it in front of a filmmaker, because we have telephoto lenses. We know what to do. We got tripods, and you're going to get busted big time. And that actually happened to me, Alex, when you were a little boy up in Forest Lake. I
remember that.
Yeah. I was going to bed, sat on the edge of the bed to take my socks off and whatever, get ready for bed. And I look out the window because the window was always open because it was really high up. Remember that? It overlooked the lake. It was like 3 stories up in the air. So I'm looking out the window and there I see this like 6 lights over the lake, above the lake, pretty, maybe 500 to 1,000 feet high. I don't really know. So I'm thinking, I'm going to just watch this. Is this, something else? So I'm watching it. And all of a sudden I think, oh my God, I've got a long lens, a tripod, tape and fresh batteries on my camcorder, and I've got a 400 millimeter lens, telephoto lens with a 2x extender on it. So I could go up to, 800 power. So I run down really quick in a panic, grab it, set up on the tripod, and I start filming it. And I'm filming it. I'm looking through the viewfinder, and all of a sudden I see another craft like spinning, coming out of that craft. and I'm filming it. And I
You
just
got it.
remember my eyes getting all like watery, like tearing up almost, you know. And then of course I'd woke your mom up, and she's like, "Let me look." And so she's looking through the viewfinder, and she's looking, and she goes, "Oh my God, 2 more just came out of the thing." And I'm like, and we're like fighting over the viewfinder. But it was filming because it was on a big lockdown broadcast quality tripod. So aliens, if you're going to show yourself, make sure there's no filmmakers around.
Yeah. Careful about who you show yourself to.
So I read this really creepy story. I'm going to tell one creepy story that I read that really is kind of weird about a missing person. But have you heard of stories where somebody goes to bed and then they wake up and they're in a different dimension, or it's what seems like another dimension, meaning everything's different? So you go to bed one way, you know, you might be 30, 40 years old, you know everything, and you go to bed and then you wake up and you're like, why do I have these pajamas on? I don't know these. Why is that painting on my wall? You know, you recognize some things, but some things you don't. So I was reading a bunch of those cases, really interesting. Of course, you never know whether they're BS.
Is it about them like being in that dimension or whatever it is temporarily, and they come to, or they're stuck in this new place?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. They come back. Other times they don't. And sometimes they just vanish. Like in other words, it depends what point of view. So if you're on the point of view of the observer, the person might be gone. So this woman who woke up and her pajamas are different, and she goes to work, for instance. Okay, she goes to work. She's been working there 20 years. She takes the elevator up to the 20th floor, but everything's different. She's like, oh my God, I must hit the wrong floor. But it wasn't. So she goes to the department, and she's like in a whole different department, but yet the building's the same. So she's really, you get weirded out, but I can imagine you're probably not going to start asking around because you want people to think you're nuts.
Yeah, you don't want to be institutionalized.
No. What you would do to me if that happened.
No.
You would. You'd stick me in the sea. Anyhow, so the other weird thing is she remembers, of course, her boyfriend. She looks on the directory because she was dating a guy in the company. She looks on the directory and the guy doesn't even exist.
He doesn't exist at all.
He doesn't even exist. But yet, once again, some things are the same, some things are different. And her story is it never went back, ever.
Never went back.
No, she had to accept the new life. She had to accept the fact she'll never see her boyfriend in 5 years ever again. But that's got to be weird if you think about it.
And she's got to play it low key so that they don't take her away.
And so the reason I was really interested in that, because there was one time I was actually up at the Black Bear Casino. We were up there filming a show, a pilot for a show. And I woke up one morning and I had what I can only describe as memories, very vivid memories of being a military guy. And suddenly then I'm looking now for my military ID, and I was upset, couldn't find me. This is all happening real time. I have memories of my home, people, family. All these memories came flooding into me. And this happened like 10 years ago. Well, I can only tell you this. That took at least 2 months to shake. How weirded out I was by the whole experience.
Do you think it was like a past life or what?
I have no idea, Alex. But I went to bed, woke up, and it wasn't like everything was different. It was just my memories were different.
You had new memories.
Yes.
In addition?
Yeah, of course. Well, no, I remembered my other things too, but yet I didn't. It was like I had to shake these other memories. Yeah. So it just, life is glitchy sometimes. I mean, people would say, well, you just had a dream, a really vivid dream about being in the military in this life. And I'm like, no, it wasn't like that. I had memories of my home, memories of my clothing, memories of the base I was at, memories. So it's just weird, but it did eventually fade. And then everything went back to normal. So I don't know if that's the same thing. There was another one I read where maybe from the guy's point of view, the guy that went missing, maybe he woke up in a slightly different world. But here's what happened. So there was this really, really popular professor, right? And everybody really liked this guy. Apparently he was young, he was just really charismatic. Everybody really liked him. He was super well known. Yeah, he was super well known too. And he was at the University of Andes. So the guy, he apparently one day he walks through this hall to cut through another hall, was seen by everybody. He goes out and through the door on the last hall, comes out to the parking lot to go to his car. Of course, everybody in the parking lot, there were students out there that were, saw him. They're all waving. He waves back, hello, hello. But he gets in his car and they're just all out in the parking lot because it was a night stay and they're visiting, right? But they don't see his car never starts. And they thought, well, maybe he's having car trouble. Maybe something's going on. So all of a sudden, one or two of the students walked over to his car and there was nobody in it. And the guy has never been seen since.
Jeez.
So did he suddenly drive somewhere and everything was a little different? Just a little bit, you know what I mean? But to the people here, he was gone. So you don't know. We don't know any of these answers. But we do know they do happen. There's been so many, literally thousands of documented cases. And I really wish someone would, gather up all these cases, investigate them, talk to people, and then write a book. Unlike me, who did not really go deep into any of these. Me, I kind of skim, as you know. But anyhow. So let's, do we have Justin in the
Yeah, absolutely. We should have him on.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How are you?
Justin, you have a great mic.
Thank you. Is it sounding all right?
It sounds awesome. You must have you have a Blue Yeti.
No. It's just one of them generic Amazon microphones.
It's your voice that's doing all the hard work.
Oh yeah.
My voice is like magic.
So, but I can tell you, Justin, your voice sucks when you're on the phone.
Wow, now he's trying to cut you down.
It's complete opposite. In fact, we were on the phone for at least an hour today, and I could never hear him.
Oh, you sound great now.
I think it might have been because I had Bluetooth earbuds in.
Oh, sure, okay.
That could have been it.
I just thought maybe this microphone is one of those fake microphones that's creating a fake voice for you.
This is the real deal, dude.
Well, okay. Anyhow, so let's get into your sighting because, as I mentioned, I don't know if you were in the back room, but I mentioned a sighting that I filmed, and I'm a filmmaker, and I'm like, UFOs, aliens, if you're going to be showing yourself, don't do it in front of a real filmmaker because he's going to bust you. He's going to get out the long lens and he's going to film it. And that's kind of what happened to you. So I'm going to shut up. Tell us what happened the other night.
So this happened on May 30th. I was just outside of these sliding doors behind me. And I was looking at the stars because it was a clear night and the Big Dipper's like right above my place. And I was about to come back inside. And as I was turning, something caught my attention. I saw like a flash of light above me. And I looked up and what I saw was a row of like 6 or 7 lights in just a line, white lights, and it was dead silent. And they were moving very quickly from north to south. But the thing is, this row of lights wasn't just moving. As it was moving from north to south, the whole object was rotating, kind of like on its center axis or whatever. So it was highly unusual. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. And it was so shocking and alarming and kind of disturbing that I ran inside. I closed the sliding door. I locked it. And I was like, I had tears in my eyes. I wasn't crying, like bawling audibly, but I was tearing up and there was tears running down my face and I was freaked out. So I took a little while to kind of gather my thoughts and to process what had just happened.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because I remember the first time I filmed something like that. It was so like unmistakable. I mean, this, When I saw it, 6 lights and saw another craft come out of it, I got teared up. Is that kind of what, actually was emotionally overwhelming.
Well, it's hard to describe the feeling to people, but the best way I can describe it, it's like witnessing magic, but for real.
Yeah.
And so it's very unusual. It's like if you saw Harry Potter in real life casting spells with his wand, you'd be like, wow. It's like unusual, and it's kind of fantastic. And I don't know, it's hard to describe and to relay the feeling of what I felt to people. But anyways, the first time I saw it, I didn't get it on video. I was not prepared. I was not expecting it at all. But after I came inside and, got myself back together, I thought it would be a good idea to grab my night vision binoculars, which I have right here. They're just like run-of-the-mill Amazon cheap night vision binoculars. And so I gathered all the courage I could, and I went outside on the patio, and I sat in a chair, and inside I felt I had to get this thing on video. Because nobody's going to believe what I just saw if I tell the story. And I feel deep down that I have to tell people because it was so amazing, So anyways, I go out there. I can't remember exactly at this point how much time elapsed, probably like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And I was sitting in my chair with the binoculars in my hand, and they were turned on. And what my plan of attack was to have the binoculars recording at all times, so that when this craft came back, if it did come back, I could get it on video. The problem was the craft did come back. Now, when it came back, I don't know if it was the same craft that just changed the arrangement of lights and what it was doing, or if it was a completely different craft, because it looks totally different, the craft that I filmed. But anyways, this craft came the second time from east to west, and it flew right over top of me. And I was looking up, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And then by instinct, because, from doing like the Bigfoot thing for so long and like all the filmmaking and whatnot, when I saw it, I hit the record button again, and I stopped my camera from recording.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, crap. I knew I screwed up. And I hit the record button again, and I was able to capture what I captured in the clip. So I got that on video. The thing ended up coming back a third time. It came from west to east this time, and it was very fast. Like, I had no real time to acquire it with my camera and get it on video. So I missed it when it came back the third time. I'm like super emotional at this point. Like, I'm sitting outside in the dark. It's like 1 a.m. There's tears running down my face like the whole time. And then I hear like there's a little wall separating my patio and the neighbor's patio. And I heard his sliding door open, and these people just moved in there. I haven't even met them, really. So I hear this patio door open up, and I'm like, oh crap, like, is this thing gonna come back now that there's other people here? And I end up seeing this neighbor like peeking over the wall, like around the wall, looking at me, because I think he heard me. He heard me doing whatever, and he was seeing if I was out there at like 1 o'clock. And I saw him, and I said, hey man. He's like, I told him it was a nice day to look at the stars or whatever. And he said, yeah, there's actually supposed to be like a meteor shower tonight. So I thought that was interesting because I saw some activity in the sky. I had actually seen 2 meteors, which were like unmistakably meteors. But I had no idea there was a meteor event going on at this point. So once he said that, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I wonder if this is related. I wonder if they came, or if they're here because this is going on, or whatnot. But anyways, like, I have the UFO on camera. It's not a meteor. It's multiple lights flying, and it disappeared over the horizon. But anyways, while this guy's talking to me, I'm thinking in my head, like, dude, just go away. Like, you're going to ruin my chances of filming this thing again. Like, I cannot deal with this right now. I probably look like a freak because I'm sitting outside with night vision binoculars, with tears running down my face. He's never met me before.
He thought maybe you were window peeking.
Yeah, probably thought I was a total weirdo. But anyways, while he's talking to me, the thing came back a 4th time, again from west to east. He didn't see it. I didn't say anything. And he eventually went in. I'm like, man, he still has no idea. So
Well, why don't we start playing the clip, and then you can kind of just keep talking.
Sure. Yeah. After that, I think I waited another half hour or so and nothing happened. And I kind of felt inside like the moment was gone. So I just went inside and I ended up staying up pretty much all night because I was freaked out and I thought I was actually going to get abducted. Now you can see in the corner of the screen, it says 2019, like the date is completely wrong and the time. So these cameras, they obviously have like timestamps and everything. And I hadn't set the one on this camera, but as of now, it is set. So next time, it'll have the right date in the corner. So it should be coming up pretty soon here.
Yep. Yeah, those are stars, just so people know.
Yeah, those are stars. There you see it coming from the top. There's 2 or 3 lights there, right in the middle now. Now, near the end of these clips, there is an enhanced version where you could see it better. And like this thing was silent, but also this night vision, the set of night vision binoculars, they don't record audio. So,
did you have it on a tripod, Justin?
No, I was hand holding it.
I bet you. I can only imagine how you felt not getting the twirling one.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like that first time I saw, like when I saw that, I feel like it was trying to get my attention. Here's a close. You can see it much better in this. It's zoomed in a little bit. Yeah, because that time when it was spinning, that was the only time it behaved like that. And I'm not sure, like it could be a completely different craft than this one. Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is that this past Wednesday, like a week ago, I saw the exact same craft. It came back pretty much like a month later almost.
Oh, there it is. So can you freeze it, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it came back last week.
So it's long. It's got like two lights in a row.
Yeah, but like I said, the first time I saw the craft, it had like 6 or 7 lights, and it was so clear because it was literally right above me when it flew over.
But they were in a row, correct?
They were in a row. So on my YouTube channel, I made a video where I go over the entire experience, and I did a little recreation of what I saw the first time,
right? Just
like a little reenactment. So if people want a visual of that, then they can go watch that video.
How clever of you, Justin. Oh man,
it's hard to explain it to people so that they can.
Actually, your animation was really cool.
Thank you.
The animation is worth going to his channel and looking at.
These things seem to come out of nowhere too. Like the starting point of them is like they just materialize like out of nowhere, which is strange, and then they just fly off. It's very peculiar.
Yeah. The last time I saw some orb, like just lights, you can't see the craft, but you can see the lights. And you don't even know if the lights are independent things. Each light might have been a UFO. And they do group up and they kind of organize. But we were driving down my parkway and we saw 2 bright pink ones.
There you go. Look at this.
Yeah, there you go. You've got
this. I changed some, like I enhanced it a little bit.
You can see it cruising past the stars. Yep.
So as the camera moves down towards the horizon, it washes out a bit because it's still picking up some light way off in the distance.
Bring that back, Alex, to where we can see the 2 lights together. See if you can find it before it gets blown out. Right? Freeze it on a frame where you can see the 2 lights.
It'll play through a few times.
Oh, you have it on a loop?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's playing it, Alex or Justin?
I'm playing it. You just
Can you bring it back and freeze it though?
There.
Bring it back right there. There you go. There you can see the 2 lights.
See, this is unusual. This isn't like anything you see in the sky on a normal day,
No. I mean, some people are seeing the Starlink thing, but that's like, I don't know, 20 objects that are all in a row, and they just kind of go straight. This thing was what? It did a left and right move. It did a number of things.
The thing about this is, like, it's hard to tell on camera, but this thing was really close. Like, it was not high up.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
What kind of altitude do you think it was?
Probably like 500 or 600 feet or something, like somewhere around there.
It's very interesting. You wonder when you see stuff like this, you wonder, what are they doing and why am I seeing this?
I know. And the thing is, like, I think they wanted me to see it because it caught my attention the first time right as I was about to go inside. Like, I nearly never saw it, and this nearly all never happened.
Well, they knew you were coming on Untold Radio.
I guess. But yeah, it happened, and it came back 3 more times. So it's like they wanted me to see it, and then it came back last week on Wednesday. I saw this exact thing that I filmed, and I knew right away it was the same thing. But last week when I went out, I had the intention of seeing something. Like, I went out with the intention. I projected my thoughts up into the sky, that I wanted to see something, make some sort of contact. And then it came, but it was really fast. I wasn't able to get it on video. I've actually switched. I'm not using these binoculars anymore for this because the lens it's too zoomed in. Mm-hmm. So I switched to a 35 millimeter on a micro four thirds sensor. So I get 70 millimeters. It seems to be a good middle ground.
Yeah.
And it has a pretty wide aperture of f1.2.
It'd be really cool if you can get it on a tripod.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I get a wide enough lens, I can just set it up on a tripod and then record the whole sky.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the trouble with a lot of cameras now. A lot of them for consumers don't have interchangeable lenses. It's just, do you remember the old Canon? I think they were H1s.
The XA H1 or whatever.
Do you remember those with the long, the big white lens you could
the XL1. Yeah.
The XL1, that's it. I had 2 of those. And I would buy these just mass. I had one lens, you damn near needed a tripod just for the lens. It's just too bad they were only high 8 quality.
I know.
But they didn't come out. I was so hoping they would come out with a high def version and then a 4K version of that same camera, because it was a really cool camera.
They were. If the XHA1 had interchangeable lenses, that would have been perfect.
Yeah. But very cool. What time we got? 7:30. Yeah. Well, thanks, Justin. And where can people? I mean, the name of your channel is Mountain Beast Mysteries, correct?
Yeah. So if they go to Mountain Beast Mysteries on YouTube, a few videos in, it's quite a recent video. They can check it out. I think it's like 25 minutes long or something like that. And I go over everything in detail. You can see the reenactments and all the footage and whatnot. And
you have more subscribers than God.
Correct. Well, I have a decent amount, which is good.
Yeah. So subscribe to Justin's channel. Thank you, Justin. And I will talk to you maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks.
See you, Justin. Bye.
See ya.
You want to take a quick break and we'll bring William on.
All right. Sounds good.
What did you want?
All right, and we're back. We're just waiting for William. He should be here any moment.
Oh, cool.
I'm in contact with him.
I can maybe tell another creepy story.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe. We'll see here. Okay. Okay. I'm looking here because I'm like, I didn't know I was going to talk more. Okay, so there was a woman. She lived in she grew up in this town, so she knew the town really well. She moves away. decides to revisit the town. And once again, this is a common theme that people have. So she moves away. She needs to go back to the town to go visit her grandmother, because I think her grandfather had passed on. Anyhow, she goes there and her grandmother's home doesn't exist. The cemetery they buried their grandfather in is now like a strip mall, but it's not only a strip mall, it's an abandoned strip mall with like graffiti all over it, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so she drives around and she literally is freaked out, ends up going back home. But then her grandmother dies. She goes back to the town again, and everything's completely normal. Totally normal.
Totally normal.
Yeah. But it's that trip into that other dimension where she either it sounds like she saw the future, like, 30, 40 years into the future. It's just, I've heard a similar story personally from friends of mine.
You have from friends of yours before?
Yeah, from friends that have like gone on a vacation. They'll go buy a place. They'll even stay at a hotel. On the way back, they're going to stay at the hotel again. It's gone. It's an empty lot.
It's just disappeared.
And they'll go into it, like asking around, where's this hotel? And they're like, what are you talking about? That hasn't been here for 30 years.
I wonder if William's heard stories like that. He is in the back. He is in the backstage.
Oh, great. Let's bring him on.
Okay. So before I have him on, let me just tell you a little bit about William. William Nighthawk is a Native American ordained minister. He is a military veteran, and he is a 32-degree Scottish Rite Freemason. He is a survivor of 2 near-death experiences and was raised by a mother who practiced black witchcraft. With over 35 years of experience investigating cryptids, the paranormal, and other mysteries of the world, he currently hosts Nighthawk by the Fire podcast on the Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast channel. Welcome, William. How's it going?
How we doing, Alex and Doug?
How are you, Williams? Good to meet you finally.
Yeah, really. It is good to see you guys.
So, how in the world, I heard about your mother.
Yeah.
But what made you think, oh my God, I'm going to follow into this crazy cryptid paranormal world? What was the turning point?
Basically being born into it was the turning point. I really didn't have a choice in the matter, to tell you the truth, to be honest with you.
So, but there's people that are raised a certain way, or their parents are a certain way, and they shun it. They have nothing to do with it. You must have had your own personal, experience where you went, oh, this stuff is real. That's what I was getting at.
Oh yeah, I could tell you stories that make your hair stand on end.
Well, I want to hear one.
All right, we'll start with the devil's chair. My mother practicing witchcraft. One day, being a little kid, I was like 4 or 5 years old, running around the house like a crazy lunatic, and not worrying about a thing but playing. And my mother was in her bedroom practicing whatever spells and incantations she was doing. Anyways, I, like a little kid, ran in, opened the door, busted in, and I stopped as soon as I went in the doorway, and I saw her talking to a red mist sitting in the chair next to her bed, her side of the bed. Not a white mist, not a green mist, not a black mist, not a gray mist, but a red mist. Okay. I asked her, she goes, sit on the side of the bed and be quiet. I said, well, who are you talking to? And she looked right at me and she goes, I'm talking to the devil.
Oh gosh.
So that was just one. There's been plenty of them. I was on her lap in our living room at the time. I was probably about 4 years old also. And at the time I had an older sister, a half sister, that was living with us. And she had her, let's say, problems. Because she was a teenager, and sometimes they have issues with certain things. And anyways, it got real cold in the living room, And the way our living room was positioned, we were sitting in like an old chair facing towards the opening to where the dining room was that led into the kitchen. So anyways, we're sitting there and it gets real cold, and all of a sudden she says, I can't move. And I looked at her, turned around and looked at her. I said, I was able to move. I was a little kid. I didn't fear anything, But anyways, make a long story short, as I turned to look at her, I saw this brown hooded cloaked figure literally come up the stairs of the basement, because we didn't have a basement door. We just had an open staircase down to the basement. And it floated through the living room, okay? Through the living room, down the hallway, and within about 20 seconds, we heard my half-sister scream her head off. And apparently, that broke whatever trance my mom was under. She jumped up out of the chair, grabbed me, and we ran back into the hallway together. And there my half-sister was lying on the floor. She apparently screamed and ran right through it. And as soon as she ran through it, it disappeared. So...
Can I ask why was your mother practicing black magic and black witchcraft?
Well, there's some controversy about how it all started. See, my mother always told us that she was stolen off the reservation from the Cherokee people back in the early 20s. She was born and raised by a Baptist minister in Logan County, West Virginia. And if anybody knows anything about Logan County, West Virginia, they're notorious for one or two different things. And the first one is moonshine, and the second one is the good old Appalachian magic. And that's basically how she was raised.
Yeah.
But apparently she had a near-death experience too that I wasn't aware of because I was so little. My older sister actually told me that she did, and she was hospitalized for quite a while, for quite a few weeks with it. And my older sister always told me that ever since she came back from the hospital, she wasn't right. So that's when it got worse. So
weird.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, she was the type of witch that she wasn't evil all the time, if you know what I mean. She was the type of witch that would help out people too. We had a neighbor, a young man that was.
Well, let me stop you. So she was still very loving. She was a good person, correct?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
She could be.
Yeah, I mean, if she wanted to be, Doug and Alex, okay. That's the only condition.
If you're on her good side.
Exactly. If you did exactly as you were told.
Oh, okay.
So one of those things. And if you didn't do as you were told, God help you. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was a really messed up childhood, and I'm kind of shocked at how well I turned out.
Yeah, because you seem like such a. I mean, to me, you seem extremely well adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's flash forward. Let's flash forward a bit. So you grow up. Did anything happen to you when you were older? More of a, like 18. Did you have any paranormal experiences there that didn't involve that did not involve your mother?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had all kinds. Not only was our home haunted, but our entire property always had paranormal activity around it.
Okay.
From lights.
My air conditioner is haunted.
Your
air conditioner's haunted. So anyhow, sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay. So you grew up in a haunted home. Why don't you go ahead and just give us a good story of that happened?
Okay. One day I was outside in the backyard playing as a little kid would, usually just by myself because nobody really wanted to come around.
Yeah.
And I would see things out of my peripheral vision. And one time when I was playing, I saw a black shadow figure run between trees outside. And this was in broad daylight. And it was blacker than black. I mean, it was blacker than midnight. Okay. Next thing I know, I get this cold chill going up my spine as a little kid, and something picks me up and throws me about 10 feet off to the side as a little kid.
Oh
I
my
think I was about 10 years old then. So I also had my first Bigfoot experience about 12 years old, I think I was.
wow.
Maybe going on 13. Me and a couple buddies were riding dirt bikes in a field, and the field went through this real thick wooded area, and then it was an open field, and then it went back to woods, and it was like woods all the way around the field. And anyways, we're taking the dirt bikes and we're going around and around and around this big field, and something told me, Doug and Alex, to get off that motorcycle and give it a break. So I parked it where they were sitting on theirs, and I got off, and as I reached down to turn the fuel off on the fuel switch below the gas tank, I looked down to my left, down the row of trees to where we came in at on the trail, and there was, well, I'll show you, okay? I had a friend of mine, he did a couple 3D busts, printed cast of what I described. This is what I saw standing sideways. Okay. It was standing exactly like this, but the arms were up in the air, reaching up into a tree. Now, the branch in the tree, guys, was at least 14 feet off the ground. Okay. And that's what I saw the first time. Okay. Now, my guess was, because I saw something moving around in the tree, and my guess was that maybe it was a female, or a young male, and its, sibling or its baby was up in the tree.
Okay.
And they were reaching for it. Now, as soon as I look back to tell my buddies, hey, did you see that? I turn and I look at them, and I see them smiling and grinning. And I look back and it's gone. And I said, did you guys see that? And they go, yeah, we saw it, and we're getting out of here. So we get on our dirt bikes and we head down the path, and we get to the location, because we got to cross that exact location where we saw it at. And something told us, just stop and try to stand on the seat of our dirt bikes and try to reach that branch. Do you know we couldn't even touch that branch, all three of us? So, it was.
How tall would you say that thing must have been then?
I'd say that thing was every bit of at least 9 feet tall.
9 feet.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys stay? I mean, did you hang around?
No. We actually got on those dirt bikes and we took off. And believe me, I was the last one in line, and I was looking behind my back to make sure nothing was following us.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that was the second time. The first time. The second time was even a bigger one, and this one got a little bit more angry with me. I don't know if maybe. Well, I know they probably don't like the sound of the popping and the cracking of dirt bikes. I mean, our neighbors didn't, so I mean, why would they? So, but
yeah, I would imagine it was a two-stroke. They're pretty loud.
Oh yeah, especially when they're trying to basically do whatever hunting they're doing, or raising their family, or whatever functioning they're doing in that area. But I've had a whole lifetime interacting with them. But the second time was about a week later, and we were riding dirt bikes again, me and a different guy, and we were in the same area, just a little bit more north. It was probably a half a mile away from where we were, and it was in a gravel pit. And the gravel pit track went from the gravel pits into the wood line, and through the woods, and back out of the woods, and back into the gravel pits. So we were taking turns going around. He had his old Indian 100 dirt bike, and I had my 125, And anyways, we're going around and around, and it's my turn. And then I start out and I go around once or twice, and I get this funny feeling I'm being watched. So like the third or fourth time I go around, I get in there and I go to turn. Next thing I know, a branch is thrown at me, and it hits the front of the bike on the tire, and the bike flips and it lands on me. And it did a lot of damage to my leg and to the bike itself. I actually burnt my leg on the exhaust of the bike because it was so hot.
Okay.
So, but there I am, probably 13 years old at that time, because it was pretty close to my birthday. It was around springtime. And hey, Vincent. Anyways, make this story short, I looked up with the bike laying on me, and I saw this thing walking away. And this one was bigger than the other one, and it was just like this, muscles and everything.
Okay.
Okay. It turned and looked at me with this this face, even the same face structure, the flattened nose, but
Yeah.
the broad nose. It had the hair and stuff on the chin and around the top of the mouth, but it didn't look any more than like you would say somebody with a beard or a mustache. You know what I'm saying? It
Well,
wasn't.
how do you rank getting these beautiful statues to show people what you saw?
Well, you have to go through what I've been through in life.
Oh my goodness! Anyhow, those sculptures are amazing.
Yeah. This one gives me the chills every time I see it.
Oh man,
it really does.
People just have no idea.
Yeah,
they just don't have any idea.
But after I saw that thing walking away, I noticed that there was a deer nestled down in the ground, and it wasn't even moving. It was like real low to the ground. So I'm thinking maybe he got mad, that maybe he was the alpha, and he got mad and threw that branch to get me the heck out of there because I interrupted him hunting. So
very, very crazy.
Yeah,
you're lucky that's all that happened to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. I think that they know when somebody has bad intentions and somebody doesn't have bad intentions. And I mean, when you're a kid, what's the worst you're gonna do? I mean, so as a kid, you can't really, defend yourself. So I don't think they're gonna feel threatened. So, and you hear of so many cases of children being taken or something, or coming up missing. So
you're Native American. Are you in touch with are you Lakota? Are you?
Yeah, I'm Lakota and Shawnee and Cherokee.
So do you hear stories too from other people?
Oh yeah, I hear stories all the time because I'm still, even though I'm recovering from cancer, I'm still, in investigating as much as possible, as much as humanly possible. Here more than lately anything, I've been getting more into the dogman end of it. And I've actually done protection ceremonies for people that deal with the skinwalker issue. So I have several people I've helped out with that. So.
Let's talk about dogman. I swear I'm getting more and more questions from people asking me whether I believe in it, whether I've, talked to eyewitnesses, and, what other choice does one have when you hear firsthand accounts in such detail from people who are scared to death?
Yeah.
There's no motivation for someone to make up a story like that.
Exactly. And I've actually talked to quite a few people that have been literally scared to death.
Yeah.
Practically because of what they've seen. Now, the one thing I do, first off, I'm just an investigator. I'm just a Native American military vet that goes out in the field and does as much research as I can over the years. So I am not an expert by any ways and means. I want to put that out there. It's just my opinion. Okay.
None of us are.
Exactly. And it's just my opinion and the way I was raised, and because I was taught by my dad not to be disrespectful. To if you see them, don't approach them. Let them approach you. Don't look them in the eye. Be respectful. Let them make the initial eye contact, and they'll let you know. If they gift you, make sure you gift them back. That kind of stuff. He also used to say things like, "Well, they know you're going to the forest before you know you're going to the forest." So that always kind of freaked me out because my whole thing with dealing with the whole subject of any cryptid, and that's any cryptid, whether it's dog man, Bigfoot, a lizard man, Pugwudgies, I don't care even if it's a Loch Ness Monster. If they have that capability, then that tells me that mankind's gotten so far from the natural laws of nature and the environment that we've gone to technology, but yet these cryptids and other, undisclosed creatures that are out there that we don't know and that we're not aware of have gotten closer to the environment. And I actually think they've derived some kind of a spiritual, almost an awakening or a power like a chi, from the environment that gives them a certain strength because they're living so close to it and we're so far away from it. So,
well, the question is if a dog man is paranormal or metaphysical and comes in and out of our dimension, what do they want? Or do they just want to live and be left alone?
Well, first off, there's, and I know this from being in the military, what I would say first off is we have to define what a dog man is, okay? Because you're going to have people out there that are going to say, well, they're genetically engineered by our military industrial complex, and that may be because we have been trying to do a super soldier program,
right?
Since the 1939, 40s, I think it started. My own father told me one time at the kitchen table that because he was attached to General Patton's armored division during World War II, that after the first bomb was dropped in Japan, they actually uncovered a building, almost like a bunker building with a couple Bell craft in it, a couple saucer craft in it, and a couple like round spiral objects in it. So, there's technology has been around for a while. It's just they're feeding it to us in bits and pieces is what I think. But basically, I think a dog man, if it is genetically engineered, I think it's engineered for a purpose. Secondly, I think if it's natural, it had to have come here somehow. Okay, it had, whether it's interdimensional or whatever you want to call it, spiritual, supernatural. But I believe that if it is a physical presence, we need to make sure that we keep it separate from everything else that we can't get it mixed up with. Because you got the Gugway, okay, which is supposedly to be a snouted Bigfoot. You've got the Skinwalker, which is basically a black magic type of a being, transforming. You've got people that believe in werewolves. You've got people that believe in the dog man being an alien, from another planet. So, I mean, there's so many things that it.
Do you believe they're dangerous?
Well, I wouldn't want to meet one in the dark. So, and yeah, I mean, it's the old saying, Doug, you don't want to meet them in a dark alley,
Right.
I mean, it's just, I realize a lot of people are afraid of a lot of different things that they don't understand. I myself, I'm not really afraid. I've been through so much that I don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Cheye Tonka he's not gonna like, leave me out in the wilderness, undefended, So I do believe that, because we call, Bigfoot Big Brother. And, I believe that, from what my father's told me in the stories at the kitchen table, that he's there, he's pretty much the protector of, anybody that's good towards the environment, the animals and stuff like that, and the trees and stuff. So I don't think if I was to walk up on a dog man per se, or or a werewolf, whatever you want to call them, Shunka Warikon, is another one.
What would you do if you walked up on a dog man?
What can you do?
Would you
So,
run?
I mean, no, I wouldn't run. Running is the worst thing you can do from a predator, Doug. You know that.
Yeah. But what would you do? Hey, if I'm out taking the garbage and I run into a dog man on garbage night, I think I'm at least walking very quickly.
Yeah, not me. I don't think I would walk. I definitely wouldn't run. Usually if you stand your ground, you're pretty much good. I mean, most of the stuff I hear coming back on reports that I've been doing recently is, they usually run off before, the human does. So, and just think about it in this aspect too, guys. The humans, as human beings, we only see a small percentage visually, and we only hear a small percentage, with our hearing. So out of the whole spectrum of light and sound,
Yeah.
So think about just how much goes on in the world around us that we don't see and we don't hear every moment of the day.
One wonders what percentage that is.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I think there's a ton of stuff that we don't see.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you'll see it, whether
Yeah.
it's a UFO, whether it's some kind of strange cryptid. But I've always kind of felt this stuff's going on all around us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we had something just the other night here where we live about 1 o'clock in the morning that basically woke us out of a dead sleep.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's hear that story. That ought to be fresh.
Well, we've been having a lot of reports of dogmen and Bigfoot in this area for a long time now. Okay. I'm not going to disclose the location because I don't need a bunch of, people coming in here and traipsing through the woods and all that and, destroying basically, public and private property.
I'm disappearing.
Yeah. And disappearing. Yeah. You're right. Becoming lunch for a lot of stuff out here. So, because we've even had sightings of big black cats in this area too. So,
yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, really. But yeah, we've been investigating it for a while now, Bigfoot and dogmen in this area. And every time I get an investigation, I always try to, incorporate others that I talk to, with the information that I have. Like Shane, who I think is on here in your chat. He's with the West Coast Dogman Project. He's a really good young man. And then there's all kinds of other people. D.A. Roberts is another one. But, it's the reports that we have. I've had one out of about maybe 6 in the last year where it's actually been the person was actually scared enough to fear for his life.
Yeah.
So I really, really don't think that the reports are going to do much as far as being threatening towards people. But what we experienced the other night was this loud screaming. And, we have feral cats out here, little house cats and stuff outside. We figured, they were out there fighting or something, like cats normally do at night. And anyways, my son and I and my wife go outside and with the flashlights and all that. And yes, I had my sidearm on me. And we're looking through the field at the tree line and we hear this screaming. And I look at the tree line and I see the eyes of a deer and I hear it screaming. And I mean, it was screaming like a woman screaming. It was literally acting like it was terrified. Okay. Then about maybe 1.5 foot above that, I saw these big yellow eyes with a tinge of orange in them. And I couldn't make it out because it was dark. Okay. But something got to that deer and killed it because within a few moments, the sound stopped. So
just stopped.
Yeah, it just completely stopped. Now, whether it was a big cat that got the deer and maybe drug it up into a tree or something, and and it disappeared that way, Whether it was Big Brother, whether it was a dog man, I don't know what to tell you. But I went down there the following morning to look for sign because I'm a tracker. I couldn't find any sign. The only thing I could find on the ground was a scrape mark where it looked like something struggled for a brief second and then stopped.
Have you ever experienced having your house, attacked or, banged on?
Oh,
Those
broken into, like you come back to it, the window's broken or
no,
doors open.
no. And the only thing I could actually say that would even come close to that would be when I first moved in here back in, 2011. I had something smack the kitchen window, and the kitchen window is probably about 7 feet off the ground. So, and it's in a position that it's not easy to get to because the actual ground goes down at an angle towards the house. So, but that could have been a human. That could have been, anything really, There's no proof that could have been anything, but that's the only thing I've had happen actually in the house. Now, other times, I mean, with fighting the cancer and stuff and with dying because of it during the surgery, that does something to you. Okay. That kind of like turns your volume up on the paranormal, if you know what I mean. It's hard to describe it, guys. It does something to you. It turns your volume up. Okay. Now, ever since that, I seem to be more in tune with things around me. I guess you could call it on a spiritual level. I can see more, I can see spirits more. I can see, orbs. I can see different, almost like, well, first off, my theory is I think Einstein's theory about time and all that is wrong. Okay. I think time is not relevant. I think time is one moment on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very non-linear.
Right. And at the same space and time that you're in, that something else is going on. Okay. And that goes back to what we can't see and what we can't hear. But with dying that this last time, it's kind of tuned me in more on a level to where I can see things. Okay. It's almost like looking through that veil of time, and I'll see like insects, crawling on the ground. I'll see figures move across, in front of me or beside me. It's just odd. You can
you
call
feel
it,
you feel like all your senses are heightened.
Exactly.
Have you ever experienced your bed shaking, William?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the times when I was a child, my mother and father came running in the bedroom. I don't know why they came running in. I guess she wanted to check on me, but I was told that I was floating a foot off my bed, and at the time it was bunk beds, and I was going up towards the ceiling, against the ceiling, and apparently my dad was the one that brought me back down to the bed and held me down. So, I mean, how do you account for that?
No, yeah, that's. I mean, if I walked in as a parent and saw my kid hovering over the bed, that would.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost like a what do they call that, the poltergeist type of a thing, taking a child like that. So,
well, the reason I'm asking you, but have you ever been lying in bed trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden your bed is shaking up and down?
No.
Ever experienced that? Okay.
No. What I experienced though one time was my sister and I, who actually she's in the chat, my sister Dolly. Her and I as kids were taken into my mom's bedroom with our dog, or my mom's little poodle, and something came in, opened up the bedroom door, and the bed was picked up several times and dropped with all three of us and the dog in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure she can, she remembers that one. It was picked up probably 3 or 4 different times, and it wasn't just picked up an inch. It was picked up, and slammed down. So, I mean, we saw some pretty messed up stuff in that house dealing with everything growing up. So, there was another case growing up in that house where we actually had the one neighbor come up because whoever was babysitting her and I at the time when we were little kids, it sounded like somebody was in our basement, broke into our house at the time, my parents' house, and was in the basement throwing stuff around and breaking things. And so we went and got the neighbor, and she came up with a 357 and and went in the house, and apparently she shot the gun off. And once the cops showed up there, she told the cops it's she shot whoever it was, but the bullet went through him.
Right through him.
Yeah. So I mean, there was definitely some really weird stuff that happened in that house and on that property. But yeah, very, very terrifying growing up.
So do you feel like your mom opened up like a gateway to opening all these things to, be haunting your place? Or was it like already a haunted type of property, do you think, before she even got involved?
I think
like a place of power,
I think she might have opened a portal, yeah. I think she probably did, and not knowing.
Yeah.
Or maybe she did knowing, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if you're sitting in, on your bed talking to the devil, sitting in a chair next to your bed, maybe and you realize you opened a portal. Maybe you did it on purpose. I mean, I don't know. I'm just glad I don't live in that house anymore or on that property. So you guys have no idea. I mean, my sister could tell you horror stories too. But yeah, we've seen all kinds of strange stuff.
Was your mom not frightened by that? Was it that like just her everyday normal for her? Or was she scared too?
Honestly, some of the times she acted like she was scared. I don't know. It was because myself and my sister were around and we were little kids, and she was just afraid to protect us.
Yeah, concerned for your guys' sake.
But yeah, I mean, most of the time, I don't think she was afraid. I think she knew exactly.
Really?
I think she knew exactly what she was playing with. I really do. But that's just, again, my opinion. My sister may have a different opinion about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so much weird stuff that's happened there.
Well, let's. I want to hear what maybe your scariest thing that's ever happened to you, where you really did feel like this wasn't going to work out so well.
Well, that would probably be the time my dad lowered me down into the artesian well.
Okay.
What?
Remember when I did that to you,
Alex? Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Well, at the time, in his defense, our water pump for our well quit working, and he wanted to retrieve it. And at the time, it was on a chain and a rope, and it was connected to the inside wall of the well, which was about 7 feet down to the water level. Okay, so in his defense, he got a rope and he lowered me down in there because he was too big, and I got down in there and I grabbed the chain to go pull it off the bolt or whatever it was on. I can't remember what it was on, but because I was a kid. Next thing I know, something grabbed both my feet and pulled me under the water.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, guys. I mean, we've had so much stuff happen to us growing up in that house. I would love to write a book about it because it'd be a #1 seller in the paranormal. I really do believe that. My sister's seen stuff. She's had stuff happen to her.
William, you got to quit changing the subject. We want to hear about the feet grabbing you.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well,
I mean, do you feel grabbed?
I got grabbed by my ankles, okay, and got yanked under the water. Next thing I know, my dad's grabbing me by the back of my shirt, the strap of my neck, pulling me back up. So
you left out the part how you were yanked underwater.
Yeah.
Just a small detail.
Well, and also just so you guys know, that water in that artesian well, it always looked black. It didn't look like clear water, or you know what I mean? It looked like it was
Evil.
dark. Yeah, it looked like it had some kind of like energy, you know. And they say in the paranormal field that water, whether you're next to a river, a stream, or whatnot, or an underground stream, it creates some type of energy for ghosts to actually utilize to do whatever they want to do. So just like lightning storms, they can derive strength from that.
Let's talk about water. Okay, cryptids and water. You must have obviously sensed the fact that most cryptid sightings, most even UFO sightings, happen near water.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Energy.
What do you think? It's energy?
Energy. Yeah. We're energy. That's all we are. We're flesh and bone and energy.
So do you believe water is far more alive and energetic than people, the average modern person knows?
I think water is a conduit, just like the electrical conduit in your household or your business.
Okay.
I think it can be used because of its energy potential. I mean, you can even run motors off of it nowadays, hydrogen, cars and stuff. So
we wouldn't know. People keep dying every time they invent one.
Well, yeah, but yeah, they would be kind of old though now, Doug. So they'd probably be 140, something like that.
Every time I hear about somebody had an engine like that, they're gone, suicided. Something happens to them.
Well, that's kind of like some of the civilian contractors for the military ended up committing suicide by tying themselves with a plastic hose around their neck and being founded the next day. So because they were in an area and saw things that they weren't supposed to see. And that's just coming from my military background. But as we were saying with water, I think the UFO thing, I think they use it as a travel mode to shift from maybe one dimension to another. I think the spirits know that they can travel from one dimension to another. I think a lot of the cryptid stuff that goes on, I think they realize that the water has energy and that they can utilize it to go through and go from one inner dimension to another, or spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it. I think water has a lot of untapped potential, and I think because our planet's covered with 70% of it, we don't know what we're dealing with.
I think it's like 90% of the Bigfoot sightings happen within 500 yards of water too.
Yeah. Well, think about all the 411 missing people cases.
Same thing. Yeah.
That Dave does. We watch, my wife and I watch his programs, regularly every day, and we're big supporters of his. And I have often wondered about the link between, a lot of people say, oh, well, Bigfoot's taking these people, or aliens are abducting these people. Why couldn't it be something else that's connected to the water? Because it always involves water, inclement weather, and granite rocks.
Yeah.
And, granite rocks, crystal, and crystals conduct power.
Yeah. Well, water actually has a very crystalline structure too. And it's actually, there's two types of water. It's very dead water.
Right.
Like reverse osmosis water, bottled water.
Right.
When you take water that flows and bounces off rocks in a stream, for instance, in a natural stream, it actually develops a really unique crystalline structure.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the people that research such say that there's so much energy that we're not getting from our modern day water pipes that they should install crooked water pipes so the water bangs as it makes it to us, because it charges the water with energy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's got to be a connection to where all the paranormal stuff that we see going on every day, there's got to be some kind of connection. They talk about the cave systems and stuff like that. Well,
Mm,
you got to understand with the cave systems and all that, you have underground streams and running water that way too.
yeah, it's
So,
true.
I mean, I think, one of my theories was too lately that since we've had all the earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions lately, we've had earthquakes on the East Coast, the West Coast, even in the Midwest. Um, I think that there's a connection that maybe something opened up, a cavern opened up, or a cave system opened up that was sealed for thousands of years that some of these cryptids came out of. So, and it's just a theory, but that's just one aspect of what I'm looking at too with my studies. So,
Yeah, your theory is just as good as anybody else's. As you know, there hasn't been a lot of progress made.
yeah, well, there's uh there's a point where everybody needs to start getting along and doing these, the research and working together instead of all the backstage,
The
attitudes and
infighting.
stuff. Yeah, the infighting, exactly, Alex, exactly. Because there's a time to be helpful. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have to be around, and I just, I want people to realize that what we're doing on a daily basis, researching this stuff and anything paranormal, is only going to benefit us further down the road the more we work together. And we have to work together because if we work apart, then they win, you know. So
Interesting. I talked to a nice lady on the phone today who had told me that cryptids have so much energy
mhm.
that they're giving people cancer that have had numerous encounters.
Yeah. Now, see, I heard that too, but I also heard that it was the lizard people, the lizard beings that live underground that are shooting some kind of like I don't know, ESP type of stuff through the ground up into us individually, affecting us on our daily activities,
Mm.
physically and mentally. So,
Are you talking
uh,
about like reptilians?
yes, exactly.
You're talking aliens?
Well, I mean, again, whatever you want to classify them as. Um, to me, an alien, be like a gray or whatnot, and lizard and all that, and like the Manus people that they report seeing. Um, there's also, I've heard sightings of the tall Nordic beings, Lemurians, I guess they're called. I've heard of insectoids.
Yeah.
I've heard of all kinds of different types of aliens. So I mean, yeah, I guess you could say they're alien. They're certainly not something that we see on a regular basis, unless you are psychically in tune to it. I know a lot of um, people in the paranormal field, a lot of psychics and stuff, and mediums that can sense them and see them a lot better than what I can. But that's another story. So
So William, with because you've been at this for like 35 years, what have like how have your beliefs changed as you've researched this and gone out and investigated, versus 35 years ago?
let's put it this way: I got religion.
You did.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to have faith. You have to have
Mhm.
faith in something, and you know, being a Native American, growing up, with the tribal traditions and all that, what is great. But there's a connection to Mother Earth that we have where we derive our spiritual power from for our ceremonies and all that, and from the Sky Father, um, and from our ancestors that we connects us through our ceremony. Again, it goes back to that conduit. Um, but there's also another spiritual way of being that you have to have more faith in something that created you than you would normally not having that kind of faith, if you know what I mean. It's like knowing that you don't have to test drive a new car for the car to be new. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to get a bad car. If you have faith in something, your creator, whether you call him Buddha, whether you call him Jesus, whether you call him, Jehovah, Tunkashila, Wankantanka, whatever you want to call them, you have to have that faith to give you the strength to get through. And that strength, being grounded, will actually open you up and protect you and let you see more than what you're seeing on a daily basis currently. So it's all about being grounded and about being connected and having that faith.
Yeah.
So,
What's one of the stranger stories you've ever investigated or heard?
let's see.
Really curious.
That would probably be an alien one. These people kept on seeing aliens come through the wall of their house and orbs through the walls of their house and stop and just basically stare at them, almost like they were recording them and their activities. This went on for probably about a month, and this happened just up the road, probably a few hours from where I'm at currently. And the next thing I knew, I got a phone call, and the father of the family he woke up outside in the yard. He was taken from his bed at night, and he woke up outside in the yard. And they had security cameras on their house, and it didn't show him getting up and sleepwalking. Okay, so sleepwalking was ruled out right away. Nobody picked him up and carried him. The camera went fuzzy in their bedroom,
and then boom,
boom, he was gone, and then boom, he reappeared outside.
Wow.
So yeah, that sent chills down my spine, knowing that kind of stuff can go on and you're not even awake to realize it, and if they can do that kind of stuff while we sleep,
Yeah.
just think about what they can do while we're awake, so
I had a good friend of mine, William, that relayed a story of a very good friend, like best friends of him. They simply, husband and wife went to bed. They woke up the next morning. They had each other's pajamas on.
And backwards?
Well, he had her pajamas on, she had his, and they were on the wrong side of the bed. They literally are still in therapy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just that one incident. Because
I would imagine this guy's still in therapy too. Because, I actually did a house cleansing for him in order for him to even want to stay in that house. And, it felt bad for me. I felt bad for the guy because he was a wreck, and he was a big tough guy. He wasn't no slouch, So for him to actually, cry and tell me, at the time, crying, his eyes full of tears, telling me how scared he was, and just seeing the expression on his face and this trembling in his hands, talking to me, and the group that was with me, it was really something. It was really something. It was terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of things are, because it's kind of like the stories I was telling in the beginning. It's just like everything should be normal, but it's not, and it's never going to be normal again. You wake up outside, your life has changed forever. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Right. You're never going to think about that every day.
Well, you gotta understand too, though. I mean, why are we even here? I mean, I've always felt like we were under a in a petri dish, under a microscope, as far as the human race goes, and that we're just a bunch of experiments is all we are. But that's just something I've always thought about. But you have to wonder. I mean, the capabilities of whoever is in control of the world we live in goes way above and beyond of anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So, and it's frightening. It really is frightening. So I wish I had all the answers. I wish I could help out people a lot more than what I do. Maybe eventually I can, but it's frightening.
Yeah. When people ask me, what I think life's all about, I just say, hey, we're all here to learn, period.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
we're here for. I mean, what else could it be?
Yeah.
Here to learn. Every combination of everything needs to eventually happen.
Yep.
And then I think the sad part is, I think when everything finally is completely happened in every combination of everything, which may never happen, it'll all go back to nothing again.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe start over.
Start
Because
over.
you really can't have anything unless nothing splits in two.
Right.
I mean, you can grab 10 million voltage, a voltage line with just the positive. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Grab both and you're going to fry.
Yep. Now, I've also heard stories of like CERN. I'm sure you've heard of CERN.
Of course.
I've heard
We're
of
actually
stories.
going to have somebody on from CERN.
Oh, really? Well, I've heard some horror stories about that place.
Yeah.
About how they've opened up a portal and it's messed with time and space and all that.
Well, sure. I mean, the theory is that CERN fired up and they did some of their, nuclear colliding, atomic colliding, and that everybody's life on planet Earth has changed.
Yeah.
The Mandela effect kicked in.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've also researched too that there was a research lab, I believe in Tennessee, recently tried to open a portal, and I actually have a picture of it. I don't know if I have it on my computer here, but
I believe that's the lab that's shooting neutrinos, actually to Minnesota, underground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a trap up in Tower, Minnesota, up by Ely, right up by the Canadian border. And the lab in Tennessee is firing neutrinos, and we're catching them in Minnesota.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's interesting because I got a picture of it too. It's pretty weird, horizontal lightning and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, can you check that, Alex, and see whether, just check in neutrino trap tower and the experiment. It's quite simple, the experiment, but they're catching neutrinos from Tennessee, completely underground. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Let's see what I can find.
So somebody had asked about BH. Hi there, Doug. Say, has William ever investigated a lake creature case or water cryptids? And I'll bet you haven't.
No, I haven't. That's the one. No, I haven't. And believe me, I mean, growing up near Lake Erie and all that, I probably should have, because there's been accounts of Lake Erie monster, just like in Lake Champlain. Yeah, I wish I had, but no, I haven't, unfortunately.
Well, there we go. I've been wrong in everything I've thought you were going to say. I've been wrong every time.
Here's the picture I have of the test.
Oh, yeah, we sort of saw it there for a second. It's tough.
Hold on.
As your camera is either irising down too much or bumping up.
Yeah, I think the battery's dying, to tell you the truth here. Let me see here.
Well, if you're broadcasting from your phone, don't.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Good.
Let's see here. There it is. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the test that I was actually took a picture of there.
I don't know. I'm looking at it. Looks like a bunch of.
Is that the sky?
Looks like something from the Ghostbuster movie.
Yep, exactly. It looks like they're opening a portal.
Yeah. Oh, that's the sky. I see. Yeah, I see a telephone pole.
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks like it's right out of a movie. It looks crazy.
Yep. It's got the discoloration in the sky. It's got
Yeah.
the cloud formations that just look like they've been scrambled. It's got the lightning coming from the center going horizontally out. I mean, it has all the earmarks of just weird. So
And I'm sorry, did you say you took that picture, William?
no, I got it off the web.
You got off the web.
Yeah.
And
It's a picture of the lab in Tennessee doing a test.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So,
Wow.
Did you find anything on the neutrino?
Yeah, I did. I found an article in Science that said neutrino hunters go underwater in a quest to trap ghost particles.
No, not that one. It's basically
You said in Tennessee?
No. It's in Tower, Minnesota.
Oh, it's in Tower, Minnesota.
Yeah, it's up by Ely.
Okay.
So they have it's a 2 mile deep mine. They converted into a neutrino catch. And they spend millions and millions just to catch one neutrino from the lab in Tennessee that was going to shoot it underground. And obviously they're working on a weapon. You know.
Oh, this is right from the University of Minnesota. It says Fermilab's 500-mile neutrino experiment up and running in northern Minnesota.
Yep, yeah, it's running.
Huh.
So that's what we have. That's what we have shooting underneath us. These people have no idea what they're doing.
They have no idea what they're messing with, is what
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at some point something's going to go terribly haywire. That's my guess. It's kind of like the COVID virus. You know, who knows? You know, was that just some lab that was messing around with junk? And look how we all suffer. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then you got to figure too. It's not just the COVID thing; it's all the other things that came after that too. With a lot of the people, because you got a real bad suicide rate now, real bad, and a real bad drug addiction problem now with a lot of people because of the COVID thing, and it's like you almost have to wonder: is it the way that they control the masses? You know what I'm saying? Or is it just ironic that it all happened and boom, boom, boom,
And I know you love this stuff because I've seen you do talk about some of this stuff on your podcast and some of your videos.
Oh, yeah.
And you do a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a radio face.
You do. No, you do a great job. Talking from your heart about controversies and stuff.
Well, I just, there's a lot of the stuff that I deal in as far as the podcast goes. Into the Red Rabbit Hole is what I've called it. And it has to deal with the military industrial complex, with the super soldier program, with the UFO cover-up, military mind control.
UFO cover-up? There's no UFO cover-up.
MK Ultra. You got to, and if you're going to talk MK Ultra, you got to talk about, the how it's a flat Earth and not a globe, because there's things out there, people out there that believe NASA faked and basically made the Earth look like a globe instead of flat. Then you got the theory of the moon hasn't always been there, and the moon is an artificial object and it's hollow.
Well, the moon is weird. I don't know how much you've studied it, but I mean, think about it. The whole surface, William, is covered with regolith, this basically glass beads that reflect light.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So just by chance, just like our signs, that we drive and the signs reflect back.
Yeah.
It affects our tides just perfect. It never moves, it just sits there, and always faces the same way.
Yeah.
Which, it rings like a bell.
Rings like a bell. Yeah.
It's exactly the same size as the Earth, from a photographic perspective. It's just so many things that don't.
And you have to figure too, though, Doug, and Alex, that it actually looks like a Death Star too. So.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
It does.
Which one came first?
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they found out it was at least moved here, to terraform Earth.
Well, you don't hear about the moon very much in the old texts and stuff in the old history of mankind. You don't really start hearing about the moon until I think sometime around the 900 AD or something like that
Right.
is when you first find out about the moon being, talked about. So where was it? The time that it wasn't here. How did it get here and not bang into our planet from the gravity pool? If there is such a thing as gravity. I mean, I've got this thing that I put on my podcast where it shows the globe Earth and all the buildings being upside down going around in a circle. And then it shows the flat Earth with all the buildings being straighted up. And it says up top where the round Earth is, the globe Earth is, and you think this is normal. How can that be normal? Because first off, if the Earth is rotating at 6,000 miles an hour, I don't care. Wouldn't the stars look like a blur?
Well, not only is it rotating at that speed, it's shooting through space at 25,000 miles an hour.
Exactly.
So you got two things going on.
Yeah, and then you've got the whole universe, our universe, spinning also.
So are you a flat earther? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm not a flat earther. I just believe that there's more to our world that we live in. I believe that there is possibly a connection to other realms below our feet. That doesn't necessarily make it a flat Earth. That just makes it an odd shape, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, people don't realize like what the moon does to the Earth alone. Without the gravity, that little bit of gravity from the moon, it wells up all the nutrition from the bottom of the ocean upwards.
Yeah.
It causes the tidal waves, and that affects even the Great Lakes, Lake Erie, Lake Superior. There's actually a very much a tide there. I was one of the few people to document the tide in the Great Lakes. It's called Seiche. I built a underwater contraption that could film with these flotation tubes and could film the Seiche that would move and document it. It's really interesting, but literally the Great Lakes would die without the moon. Yeah. The oceans would die very quickly. And people don't realize, like, how is it that perfect? It just came there, just some hunk chipped off some planet and floated here. Bull crap.
All right. There's definitely more to the story.
Yeah, it was put there by intelligence.
Yeah.
Great intelligence,
Yep. Now, I've never been one to really think too much about the Anunnaki thing, but you have to give that some credence as far as being true. The first written language, Sumerian, described them as 20 feet tall, and the actual carving in the Middle East shows them with the long beard and carrying a box, and then you have Mayan carvings that show astronaut travelers carrying a box, and you have other cultures like the Egyptians showing someone carrying a box. So you have to wonder what do all those have in common, So.
No, I definitely believe we've been interfered with. Sorry, Alex, you were going to say something.
Oh no, go ahead. I think we're going down the same road here.
Well, that was the road I wanted to go down. So, what about? I mean, native cultures are more accepting of ancient alien type interference.
Yeah,
I think the natives have it totally right. They talk about the star people.
Yeah. We have legends of the star people. We have legends of the Seven Sisters. We have having to do with the Devil's Tower. We have the seven brothers who meant the seven beautiful native Indian women, and how a giant grizzly bear attacked them, and they all climbed up in the tree, and the the native women went all the way to the top of the tree, and the tree grew as the bear struck at it. And basically, the 7 sisters in the tree became the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. So, I mean, when you have stories like that teach, and we're taught oral tradition, from childhood, you have to basically, you got to take it, 50% of it's got to be factual, and maybe 50% is made up, but still it's based, all legends are based off of fact.
Is there any legends in Native culture at all about dogmen?
There are some legends, but we don't really call them dogmen. We call them bear man.
Oh, bear man. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's because that's the closest thing that they could describe it. But yeah, there is a legend also with the Abenaki, Kuloskoff, where he fended off a bunch of ghosts and basically proved that he was, the apex warrior of the woods. But yeah, there's all kinds of stories about sky people, about extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them, about cryptids. It just depends on which part of the country you're in. There's even legends in South America that I've come to find out, dealing with a lot of the Mayan culture and stuff, about the lizard beings being underground there, and about the entrance to their world, which they call the next life, through a water portal. And again, it goes back to the water thing, So.
Very interesting. So, is there a thing that would happen that did happen to Dolly that you didn't experience in the cryptid world, or has she been, free of any cryptid experiences?
Well, funny you say that, because my sister lives up in.
Don't lie. She's in the audience. Don't lie.
Yeah, it's funny you say that though, because we've been talking a lot lately about certain things that happened and stuff when we were children, and but she actually lives up in the Bridgewater Triangle area.
Nice.
So I would imagine she's probably got a few tales to tell. That's for sure. But probably I know we've talked a lot about UFOs and what she's seen and what we've seen down here.
Okay.
In fact, my wife and I made a report to MUFON a few years.
Tell you what, William, I'm going to ask her direct. She's in chat.
Okay.
Dolly, have you had any cryptid experiences? Hopefully she's typing.
Yeah.
It is really cool though to, I guess, reminisce with your siblings as you get older about what they remember and didn't remember about certain experiences. So she said she's had many UFO experiences at the house that we grew up in. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on your own with cryptids. She's touching that subject.
Well, she knows. She's definitely heard some of these already. So,
have you guys become closer as you gotten older, or farther apart?
Well, my sister and I have always been close because of what we went through. I regret being the younger brother and not being able to protect her more, if you know what I mean.
That's cool.
I mean, that's just me. I literally kicked myself in the butt just thinking about it, but yeah, I wish I would have been able to, been stronger for her as a child, made her feel a little bit more safe than what she felt.
Yeah.
So,
that's pretty crazy. Have you traveled much into Canada? Have you done anything up in Canada?
No, nothing in Canada.
Have you even visited Canada? Well, have you? You've gone up there?
Yeah, when I was younger, we got kicked out of a few bars up there.
Oh, I was speaking about the wilderness. People have no idea the wilderness that's up there. It's just,
oh yeah.
It's
Well,
incredible.
well, yeah. Look at what the one thing that you all did up there at the lake up there in Canada, Snow
Yeah.
Grove Lake. I mean, and then you got Ontario. That's a hot spot. I mean, if you want to talk cryptids, I mean, for that community up there, I'm not sure where my brother uh, Mr. Cater is up there, but I'm sure he's got his hands full with all kinds of weird stuff up there. Um, he's been dealing in this stuff for a long time. Yeah, Vincent knows. Vincent knows.
Yeah, the Wendigo. But
Yeah.
Canada is so vast that people just have no idea. I have flown all over in float planes, where you can really look at the terrain, and it's incredible. I just wonder how many mysteries are hiding up there.
Well, that, and then also you got to figure British Columbia area is very much a hot spot too.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe that's where they actually saw the dire wolf.
We have one guy in the audience in the chat room that I know lives in British Columbia. Or are you in Alberta, Braden?
It's his stomping grounds, British Columbia.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew. What a beautiful place.
Yeah, he actually had a question, William, about have you ever investigated water cryptids?
Well, we already asked him that.
Yeah. The only thing I've done with the water cryptids is actually researched it, but I haven't actually gone out and done an investigation on them. Between having time and money, basically, because it takes a lot of effort to actually, get the gear together and the people together, because that's something you can't do by yourself.
Yeah.
Most of the investigations, minus the paranormal stuff, like the ghost hunting and all that kind of stuff, most of the other investigations I've done on my own or with my friend that actually passed away. So, it'd be too much money wise, and just trying to get everybody together and on the same page
and plan it all.
Yeah, that would be more for Alex, for you to do, since you're young and you got your dad's experience behind you too. So
pack your bags, dude.
Yeah,
you're going out into the water.
So what's the weirdest ghost story? We haven't really talked about ghost stories. What's the oddest ghost story? Or are they ghosts?
Do you think there's something else?
Well, no, I believe that there is human spirit. I don't call human spirits ghosts. Ghost to me is a generic term. And sometimes it refers to things that haven't been living in our world. Like a lot of people say the shadow people are not, we're never living. But to me, ghost can refer to that too. So yeah, if I don't believe that ghosts can refer to people that are deceased, I believe we should basically treat them as regular people. They do have the ability to communicate with us after death. But yeah, there's a lot of them out there that I've done investigations on. I think the weirdest one that I actually did was one up in Maryland, in Sharpsburg, Maryland, actually. And a lot of the recordings I got, the EVP recordings I got, were fife and drum recordings from the Civil War and also the Revolutionary War.
So you recorded music?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
On an EVP?
Yep. I've also recorded orbs and stuff in the house. Yeah, I can send you that tape. I've actually got the tape right here in my little room here. So
can you wouldn't have it handy enough to play a EVP that was music? Probably not.
No, it's on one of those little cassettes. So
well, next time we get you back, we're going to definitely have you play. We'll have you get them all ready.
Okay. All right,
yeah, that would be exciting. That sounds fascinating.
I'll do that, and I can even upload some of my video recordings from some of the cryptid hunts too that I'm going to be doing here too, because once I get the all clear next week, physically wise, I'm going to be trying to get back out and doing more.
You're going to be
So-
okay, William. You're not leaving.
So yeah, I hope so.
You got a million years left. You got see. You have to do at least another 2,000 podcasts. Then you can check out.
Yeah. Maybe I can pump out about 2,000 of them in about a week, and then we'll just play them over and over again.
No, you just got to do one a week. So that's what's going to happen. No, you're not going anywhere. You look great, by the way.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Northwoods with Chaz. There we go.
What are you reading? Northwoods with Chaz?
Yeah.
Oh, there I see.
Yeah, Chaz. Yeah, Chaz. Carter.
Monkey dog reports. What? I've never heard of a monkey dog. Tell us. What is a monkey dog?
Honestly, I think he should tell you that one.
Well, Northwoods, why don't you type in what's a monkey dog? So we'll put it up on the screen.
He's talking about the giants too, the skeletons that they found too.
So Mr. Northwoods, he can come here and escort me while I take the garbage out tonight too.
Oh.
It's garbage night on Wednesdays. And every time, I swear to God, my head's on a swivel. And the other night I was out there alone and, doing whatever and, looking at the stars or whatever. And then the sprinklers came on and I hear this, I'm like totally on edge, because you get all tuned into this stuff and then you get jumpy.
Yeah.
Have you ever been that way? Or by the way, did you like your nickname I gave you? The Paranormal Warrior?
Oh, yeah. Well, my warrior days are much over.
No, but I gave you that nickname today. I put it right in your outline. You got to keep that. That's awesome.
Yeah. As far as me jumping, I'm too old and too stubborn to jump anymore. So.
God, you look like you're 30. Give me a break.
Right.
Oh my God! If I saw you in the street, I'd think you were 30s.
I wish.
Well,
I wish.
I'm not.
I'm 30 going on 90.
I'm not pulling your chain. Dude. You look great. You look great. So anyhow,
it's all that good radiation they pumped in me.
Oh God, no, I could be. He didn't even. So he tells us about the monkey dog reports, and then he doesn't follow it up.
And then he disappears.
I think he's actually talking about the devil monkeys.
Oh, there it goes. The monkey dog. There it goes. The monkey dog is
the human. Yeah, the human
between humans and man.
Yeah. Well,
isn't that a Bigfoot?
Yeah, pretty much. But I guess the monkey dogs are the ones
short.
that have the tail.
Oh,
so.
Okay.
It looks like they're small, right? Unless it's like a baby Sasquatch, it's maybe a different breed.
Well, humans were born with tails too, though, sometimes. So, it can't be that far off.
Very interesting, though.
But yeah, it also reminds me of the devil monkey sightings that they see, especially around West Virginia. They've been reported. So.
And tell us about the devil monkey.
The devil monkey is supposed to be a creature that's typically anywhere from 4 to 5 feet tall, has a long tail, and is evil. Has been known to chase cars down, been known to climb on people's roofs of houses and try to break in the windows, just kill pets. Just all kinds of very weird and violent stuff. I've never personally had a run-in with a devil monkey. But then again, I haven't had a run-in with a Black Panther either in this area, and I know they're here too because I've seen the pictures. So.
Well, there's always tomorrow, William.
Exactly. It'll have to wait till next week till I get the okay.
Murphy's Law, right? So you say, I've never seen a monkey dog.
You're going to see one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I had some creature attack my car one night. I was driving with your mom, Alex, and we were driving down. You should ask her whether she remembers this. We're driving down from downtown Forest Lake, down the North Shore Trail, very slowly. And I saw two eyes at the side of the road. And all of a sudden, these two eyes leaped at the van and smashed its entire body flat against the side of the van and looked in my window, right in my eyes. And all I can remember is this kind of bulldoggy looking creature. It had like bulging eyes and it looked vicious.
Vicious.
And
You just described Alf.
And it pooped, yeah. It pooped all over the side of the van.
Oh no.
It was
Sounds like you had a run-in with the devil monkey.
Exactly. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm glad it wasn't garbage night that night. And I was out walking, taking the garbage out in the middle of the night. And then that, whatever that was, attacked me without a car because it slammed in the car like boom. And it was weird. You know, it's like I've never experienced anything like that since or never will again. It was weird.
Well, that sounds like a devil monkey. That's exactly the reports that I get on what they do.
Really?
As far as, yeah, and throwing themselves in at a vehicle and trying to get in the vehicle.
Okay, back up, back the truck up.
Chasing them down. I mean, sounds exactly like the MO of a devil monkey.
So you've heard about these things attacking cars?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they attack cars. They chase cars, probably because they know there's people inside them.
That's all I need on my resume is devil monkey attack. Alex,
well, I mean,
get on my resume.
Yeah, get that on your resume.
That's just another
Survivor
gemstone in your crown.
ask your mom if she remembers that, Alex.
I'll ask her about the devil
It was
monkey.
quite dramatic because, I mean, it hit the car with such force, the whole van just shook. And then I'm looking at this thing face to face. There was just separated by glass.
Alex, maybe you shouldn't ask your mom because she'll blame your dad.
Anyhow, I don't want to see a devil monkey. That's not what I want to see ever, ever, ever.
Well, there are reports though that in your area too. So
of devil monkeys.
Yeah, there's reports all over the country. There's reports down in Louisiana. There's reports in Mississippi.
God.
There's reports in Alabama and Missouri. I mean, all over the place.
Let me guess. Is there a devil monkey sighting map?
No, it's just stuff that I've learned and from talking to people. So,
oh, geez, I don't.
Maybe I'll get Vincent Richardson to actually do a sightings map for me. He's a heck of an artist.
Yeah,
so.
We're all within 3 miles of Doug's house.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. The time is really nice. Good night. So, it was awesome meeting you finally, William.
It was great talking to you guys.
William's been a good friend online, and now we at least see each other face to face. You've always been wonderful.
Well, if you guys ever need me for anything, just feel free to get a hold of me.
Well, I already have one assignment: find the damn devil monkeys in Minnesota. So,
okay.
Of course, with my luck, it'll be like right in Forest Lake, right there.
All right, I'll get back to you. Give me next week. Give me till next week, and I'm serious too. I'm serious.
Well, and William, I know you were mentioning earlier you'd love to write a book someday, maybe. We publish books.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We do.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
So we can maybe talk about that later.
Okay, that'd be
Depending
great.
on your interest.
That would be great. Yeah.
So only Alex would be doing sell. He would be doing. Oh my God.
Hey, apple doesn't fall far from the tree there.
Apparently not. Apparently
All right, guys.
Okay.
Well,
It's great having you on.
You guys take care.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care.
And Alex will post his links up on the YouTube site. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, everyone.